Hey y'all! So, welcome to my mini series, The Process Chat, where I bring conversations around getting started in business, exit planning, and everything in between. I'm Adriana, your operations guide, to helping you build processes so you can focus on progress. Today's episode is about why your first hire or hires should be sales focused and how I came to that conclusion. So, before anyone tries to fuss with me, I have something to show you guys real quick on how I came to this conclusion and stuff. So let me pull that up real quick. I should have had it pulled up from the get-go, but we're just gonna roll with things. So, all right. So first things first, where do you fit in? So the reason why I bring up why you're first, and when I say first hires, I want to clarify this too. When I say hires, I want to say somebody that is on a consistent basis. So our business thrives off sales. Like, it's a business. We're a for-profit, or majority of us probably watching this, you're a for-profit business. Any type of business runs on money. Even like nonprofits, they need money to keep things going. It may just look different how they acquire it, but every business needs money. So the first thing you need to do is figure out how you can make some money so you can actually pay these people that are going to be helping you inside your business. So the reason why I pulled this up, I should have presented this. Let me present this slide real quick, or bring it up so y'all can look at this a little bit better too. But the reason why I brought this up is because one, I like visuals, so it's easier for me to just kind of like talk through visuals, and two, just kind of like show that there is a guide for how you build out your business. Like, even though everyone has like unique businesses, like businesses are supposed to be unique, businesses at its core are just simply just a bunch of processes and tools and resources and things that you put into it. So like, no matter what you build out, there's still some kind of guideline that you can follow. It's just going to look different on how you do the path. So I want to show this. Where do you fall at? Because when it comes to business at its core, like I said, it thrives off sales. You need to have money in order to keep your business or have a business. If you're not making money in business, you don't fully have a business. So your business runs on money. So if you are hiring, well, let's go through this first, and then I'll talk about the hiring part. So I broke it down. It doesn't really matter, like, what the titles are for. It's just how I like to break things down. We have first up, so in case you're listening, we have first up the rookie stage. These people businesses are testing and selling in this stage. They have a heavy focus on marketing and sales because, like I said, if you are not making sales in business, you don't really have a business. So you have that. They're documenting what the ideas look like, and hiring looks like marketing and sales processes, like helping with these type of things. And then for the beginner, number two, these people are getting consistent. They are consistent and growing. They have basic documentation SOPs that can be created. They are refining their offers, and hiring may look like hiring software or professionals that help with setup. Seasoned, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that too. Seasoned are those that are operations optimization. They're focusing on like really hammering down their operations, hiring and automating for ongoing support. The owner starts removing themselves from busy work. The pro level, they optimize workflows, focus on leadership and succession within the teams. The owner is getting out of the day-to-day if they are not already out of the day-to-day. And in this area, this is where you're focusing on how to expand even further. I put licensing, partnership, franchising, things of that nature. And then number 5 is expert level, which is like you have the full documentation of operations, systems, should support for long-term delegation, and the owner is carrying out the exit plan. So this is something I talk about a good bit. And whenever I'm talking about building systems of some sort, this is where this comes from. So like, I'm leading back to this. It does not matter how long you've been in business. If your processes aren't showing growth, or they're not fully tested, because we all have systems, but like, if they aren't showing like a consistency, what I'm trying to say here, if they're not showing consistency, then you have a particular level that I'm looking at, especially when it comes to doing this and building out systems and everything. So when it comes to, again, hiring and stuff, we tend to do things a little bit, I don't want to say wrong, but maybe misinformed, because sometimes people will hire based on they're overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, I have so many emails in my inbox, or oh my God, I can't stand being on social media. this, that, and the third. And while, yes, they do contribute to the bottom line, like honestly, every hire contributes to either making you money and saving you time, or some do both. But depending on where you fall inside your business determines what kind of hire you should be having. So like if you're still like in the rookie phase or even the beginner phase, usually these phases, like you're really focusing on sales. So like you're focusing really hardcore on like your sales process. And of course you're focusing on this through every step, but like these two definitely are like, okay, let me figure out where I want to be at. Need to make sure I have some consistent income coming in so I can really test things out. And if you're not there yet, it doesn't make sense to hire someone that's operations focused like myself. And I'll even tell people, like ask them like, where are you inside the business, just to see, making sure you're not hiring somebody that's operations based. Because like I tell people, operations, like even though yes, we do help build out revenue, it takes a long time. Like your ROI, for your immediate ROI, is more so clarity and you have a better flow of things. It's not necessarily going to be money. That usually results in money down the line, but initially it's not going to look like that. So like, I don't know. I don't know. But it just doesn't look like that. But the main thing here is, if you are hiring, definitely, I highly recommend, and again, I like to say this is my opinion. I feel like it's a very right opinion, but whatever. But my opinion is to just focus strictly on something that will help get you visible and help you make sales, like in the beginning stages of business. And when I say hiring, again, I'm more so focused on like kind of like on a continuous basis. And even continuous can look like you hire somebody quarterly or something like that to kind of like review things for you or give suggestions, things like that. Like when it comes to other professionals, hiring them, it's a personal preference. I don't recommend it until you have consistent income coming in. But again, at the end of the day, it's you. You got you. So there's that. So where do you fit in? You can look at this chart. If you're listening, you can kind of like pick apart. I went through that pretty quickly, but like you can kind of pick apart like where you are. Some people may fit in 2 boxes. You may feel like you're in between. Totally fine. Some people tend to skip. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Some people tend to skip. It is what it is. Whatever you feel like you fit in at, that's where that's at. So when I say your first hire should be someone that brings in sales, this is where I am, and this is kind of what I'm referring to. And I'll go more in detail if you sign up for the workshop. We'll be talking about this too during the hiring process and what that looks like and how to determine the type of people to hire more exactly. But here, that's what we have. So next up is documenting the systems. So I'm going to talk more about this next week, but systems are nothing more than your repeated processes that you do inside the business and the tools and resources that follow it. So like all of the, if you use CRM, any of the software that you use that's part of your system, SOPs, things like that, all that is a part of the system. Like all that's mixed in. And again, I'll talk more about systems another time, but when you're documenting the systems, if you have like the same flow like I just mentioned, this will help guide on things you need to document. Because again, whatever you're focused on, like right here for like the rookie stage, you're focusing more so on marketing sales. So documenting here will look like, okay, what am I doing for marketing? How's my sales process looking? And just writing out the steps for each of those. And again, I'll talk more about systems next week because that's a whole nother thing I can really dive into. But for the most part, we'll just focus on when it comes to documenting the systems. It just depends on where you are. And something I'd like to recommend too is to focus on your to-do list. I found like that's the easiest way. So like you have a bunch of stuff like in your planner or something, look at it, because sometimes what we have written down inside our planner are actual process steps that can actually be turned into the documentation you'll need later on. So there's that. It's a lot of talking, y'all. Man. All right. Maybe because I've been talking all week already and it's Tuesday. But anyway, okay. So the third point I want to make is, I'm just going to keep this slide up too. So if you want to take notes on that, feel free. I talk about this a lot, especially anything I do. I'm going to bring this where you fall at chart. So anyway, keep that up. So my third thing and the final point I want to make today is hire fast, start slow, and fire fast. So just a quick brief thing about that, pretty much just what it says, hire fast. Let me back that up. Hire fast only if you already know what you are looking for. And again, this is something to cover like workshops or anything that I do with hiring. This is what we focus on. So when you hire fast, this is if you already have your success metrics in place. You're kind of aware of where you are in business, and you know something's going to either help you generate revenue quickly. Quickly is subjective. I got subjective, but yeah, like once you have all that stuff, like quickly is subjective. But I say within 3 month period. Honestly, if you really like tune in what you need, you can see stuff within like a month or two. Like, but again, it just depends on what kind of systems and stuff you built out, like what kind of repeated processes you've built to hire beforehand. So if you don't have a repeated process or you don't have like true systems in place, then when you hire, it's going to take a lot longer versus somebody that has their success metrics. They already have like templates. They already have like these things their new hires going to need so they can hit the ground running. So it's going to look different. So it just really depends on how far you have that. So hire fast if you have the stuff mentioning, God forbidding. So my thing is hire fast once you already have something in mind. So we're going to pretend we're in a perfect world. So you hire fast if you already have like ideas and you have like the things in place for this person to really like kick things off. Start slow. By starting slow, I just simply mean just that. You start slow. You don't give people a whole bunch of stuff to do. So like you just take, let's say, because you know them job responsibilities be having like 10, 20, 50 things to do. By starting slow, I just mean give them something that you do like every day. And honestly, a lot of times it's only like the same 3 to 5 tasks that you're doing repeatedly. Start them with that. See how that goes. But again, this goes into also if you already have fine-tuned what you need them to do to show like an immediate return. And I try to be careful about saying immediate because it's not always going to be immediate. It's just immediate, again, subjective. It just depends how much stuff you actually have for this person to really prepare for the role. So there's that. So starting slow and then firing fast. Something I see people, a lot of small businesses, a lot of companies struggle with is firing fast. If you do things the right way, and by meaning like you have a clear pathway for your hires to go through, if you contact HR, I'm always gonna bring up HR because you do need HR. Like I can suggest stuff from like an operation standpoint, but like you do need HR to make sure you're compliant, make sure you can avoid lawsuits, all that good stuff. So I will always say have HR handy. But there's that. So fire fast. If the person just is not a good fit for the role, and I don't mean that you're in a bad mood one day and you just like this person's moving too slow, but you never had like the stuff for them. But no, it's just you set the person up for success. And even with talking to them, because you know you got to adjust the learning styles and stuff, it just still doesn't seem like a fit. Let them go. Or if you have something different inside of your company, depending on how you have it set, depending on if you have multiple departments and stuff already, see if they would be a fit for a different role. Because sometimes people will fill out things for a role, but they don't really either they don't really necessarily care for it, or they like certain things about the role, but they don't necessarily want to do that exact work. You can remove them. So you're like, wait, you're not firing somebody. You can just, I see you're doing really good with this. Let's move you to this role instead. So that way you can focus on something else. But again, this also goes if you actually have like your full structure and stuff built out as well. But overall, the main thing, hire fast, start slow, and fire fast. So we got that. And I think that's all I got for today. So yeah, so the recap, pretty much the whole overview is that you need to, one, make sure you know where you're going to fit in whenever it comes to hiring, know what level you're at in business. And again, it doesn't really matter how long you've been in business per se. It just really just matters about like the type of systems that you have. So if you have good systems, then you have that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So hopefully you took notes on the little chart. So yeah, so figuring out where you fit in, documenting the systems. Again, just focus on like the level you are in business and start documenting your to-do list based on the systems. Again, I'm going to talk about systems next week because there's a lot more to say to that. And hire fast, start slow, and fire fast. And again, have to say this is totally dependent on what you already have laid out. So like if you don't have any type of hiring strategies, none of that stuff, then it's going to look different. You're going to have a lot of issues with that. So hopefully you will be at my workshop that's coming up Saturday. So just gonna slide that in there. But okay, but the main thing, so that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed this conversation, some other ways you can stay in contact with me. First off, I would love, love, love your feedback. If you like any of these topics or you want to hear about something different, I am still like trying to figure out a good pathway. I want to do these. So like if you have suggestions or anything, let me know. Eventually I do want to bring on different guests on here. So that's just something I want to put a little tidbit out. Another thing, I started up my Facebook group. Again, I shut it down back in like 2022, but like I want to start it back up again. So I did start that up, completely brand new, revamped it. Finally in a place where I feel like I can really contribute the way I want to. So that's open, Business a Lazy Way. We are on Facebook. If you're on my email list, I broke down why a good bit, but yeah. So we're back on Facebook, Business a Lazy Way. I tried a LinkedIn group, just didn't work out for me, but we have that, Business a Lazy Way. So Business a Lazy Way on Facebook. Definitely reach out to me here on LinkedIn or anywhere else. And finally, if you're watching this before March 29th, I am having a workshop. It's a Saturday. It's totally new for me. I normally don't have things on Saturday, but it's one of those times it's like life is life. So if you're watching this before March 29th or listening, I am having the workshop, new hire workshop. We'll be talking about this stuff and a whole lot more for you to build out your strategic hiring roadmap. So we'll do that on the 29th at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you are watching this after, I am planning on having another one in May. I'm trying to keep this every other month on the fourth Saturday. It may change, so just make sure you hang tight and just keep following along. Other than that, that's all I got for you guys today. I'm tired of running my mouth, and I will see y'all soon.